How's it going, everyone? It's your bro JMO, and I am ecstatic to tell you about the marvelous experience I had at WeebCon 2022 in Allen, Texas. This is the first time I've been to a full weekend con as opposed to the one day in 2018 at a local Montgomery con. So this was quite the experience, basically the first time at a con, like really, for a full weekend. Now I should go ahead and preface before moving forward at all that this is an experience from a voice actor's perspective, not the more common consumer fan that conventions are typically geared towards. And as such, I knew that it wasn't going to be rich with voice acting tips and information that I haven't already heard, but I still wanted to go because of this book right here. This is a voiceover voice actor by Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt, Yuri of which was at WeebCon 2022. I've had this book for about 3 years, both listened to the audio book and read the book itself. Kind of unfortunate when you're talking about voice acting, because it's just like, man, which format do you pick? Kind of unfortunate. Anyway, I wanted to get the book signed, and that was the main tipping point for going to the con itself. I'll try to keep it brief and just speed through each day. I'm not going to be talking about like vendors and stuff like that. There were tons. There were tons of cosplays everywhere. I swear, everywhere you looked in your peripheral at all times, there was some Genshin cosplay, and they were super dedicated, super detailed, very cool, and I'll be sure to show pictures of some of the people that I ran into during this whole video. So Friday, me and my friend that I was staying with during the whole time get there late because it was snowing and icing in Texas. My only experience in Texas, ironically. So for fear of it being freaking cold, which it was outside, I didn't wear my Spider-Man costume that I brought with me inside because I thought it'd be too cold. Now, Saturday and Sunday, I joined in on the cosplay fun, but Friday, I was a bit of a sissy. My objective throughout this entire con, of course, is to get the book signed, chiefly, and also to just glean and take notes from anything that I can panel-wise. And unfortunately for me, the panels from Friday, because of flight cancellations, because of the ice and everything, got moved back over and over and over until all the events that I cared to go see weren't even happening that day. So we just decided to leave at 6 p.m. Quite frustrating, but not all bad though. Because one, I got the book signed by Colleen O'Shaughnessy and Kira Buckland, and two, there were some really awesome cosplays that I didn't get to see the next 2 days. I took pictures of them, not with them, because I wasn't in the costume. Three, I, well, got reaccustomed to the con environment. And four, I didn't have to be in the registration line for Saturday. And let me tell you, it's a good thing because it was freaking stacked. It was packed. Like, we got there at 10:30 and people just kept coming. That registration line didn't disappear until probably 2 p.m. So 11 o'clock hits and I go to, in my eyes, the most important panel to be at, Are You Game with Keith and Val Aram. This is a couple who are voice directors and casting directors. So naturally, anything that they have to say is probably going to be useful information that I've already heard and need to hear again, or helpful information that I have never heard and need to jot down. 95% of the notes that I took were from that single panel. Very, very useful. Afterwards, we hopped over into a Genshin Impact panel. That was all very cool. And then afterwards, immediately I head over to the line for Yuri Lowenthal's signings. We're there for about 30 minutes, and then the assistant kind of shouts out to the crowd that we're in that Yuri is only taking cash payments, which confused me because so many of the other voice actors had cash preferred, but there were other payment options. Kind of confusing. I'm sure they've got a good reason. But I did not have that $60 required on my person. I asked my friend, and he didn't have the cash to borrow either. So I rushed over to the ATMs that were available, and wouldn't you know it, my luck gave out on me, and all of them were out of order. So I head back, and I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. And fortunately, bless, the guy in front of us says that Yuri Lowenthal is going to be there the following day. So not all is lost. I just asked my friend if I can borrow some cash from him once we get back to the house, and it all worked out. Spoilers, it all worked out. So we move on and wait in the gaming lounge for the Naruto panel. I got to play Guilty Gear Strive in the gaming lounge with a PlayStation 4 controllers, which super unnatural to me. It doesn't feel right for my thumbs. It feels like it wasn't made for thumbs. Don't at me. I didn't grow up with Naruto, sue me, but the panel was absolutely great. Yuri Lowenthal, Steve Bloom, Colleen O'Shaughnessy, Bo Billingsley. It was great. It was an awesome panel. Afterwards, we waited for the cosplay contest at 6. It didn't open till 6:45, and even then, me and my friend had to leave pretty early on due to time restraints for his job. So moving on to Sunday, naturally, there's only one objective: get this sucker signed by Mr. Lowenthal. So I got there at around 9:30 and immediately went to the line. It was a pretty small line because Mr. Lowenthal wasn't there yet. So naturally, the line wasn't that bad. After an hour of waiting, I got to meet Yuri Lowenthal and get the book signed. Oh, I should probably show you it. Jesse, raise your voice, Spidey. Yuri Lowenthal, and there is Colleen O'Shaughnessy and Kira Buckland's signatures as well. So that was very, very cool to just meet Mr. Lowenthal and get the book signed in my Spider-Man costume, no less. I'm such a nerd. I love it. Despite the whole experience being very short and sweet, it was all really cool. Now moving on, fortunately for me, the Friday panels that were supposed to happen got moved to Sunday, so I was able to make the tail end of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure panel and the Persona panel, which also had Keith and Val Aram there again, so I was able to take a little bit like the other 5% of helpful information from that panel. Afterwards was what I thought was the Monster Hunter panel, where Keith Silverstein and Christina V would be talking about what voice actors do in a video game setting as opposed to other voice acting environments. But I'm very bad at reading useful information and very good at making assumptions because it was a Hunter x Hunter panel. But the point of that whole panel was still to exemplify what voice actors do on the daily. And they did this using 8 volunteers and doing an elimination style exam like in Hunter x Hunter. I was the last one chosen, and thank goodness. I think I would have gone crazy if I wasn't chosen once I realized that we got to do efforts, I got to do creature sounds, creature combination sounds like a cat, bird, enunciation challenges, and even a full page of script. I would love to go into detail about this panel because it was such a cool experience, but I already did that in an hour-long video that was way too freaking long for any reasonable person. So yeah, the whole experience was really great. I got to act in front of people again and doing my favorite things, no less, efforts and creature sounds. I dig it, I love it. And I ended up winning the contest. People even complimented me afterwards with very encouraging words. And honestly, I'm really proud of that performance. So I keep telling my friends about this and it's just like, dang, it's just not the same telling you about what I got to do. You really would have had to be there. So if you happen to stumble across the recorded contest panel, post it in the comments for me. I'd appreciate that very much. Afterwards, I moved on, waited around in the gaming lounge until round 3 when I was picked up, and that was about it. So naturally, the highlights of the whole thing were 1, getting the book signed and meeting Mr. Lowenthal, while being reintroduced to the con environment. That was really cool, and I forgot how much I love cons. I'm gonna have to look for some more in my area. Are You Game with Keith and Val Aram was definitely the most insightful, and then the Hunter x Hunter contest was definitely the most exciting. All in all, an absolutely amazing panel, even for someone who had completely different objectives from the average con-goer. So that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. If you were at the con, it was an absolute pleasure meeting you, and if you were not at the con, I hope that this gave you just a good taste of what was at WeebCon 2022. And if you have not been to a convention before, I hope that this video has given you just a smidge, a taste of what is to be offered at the convention environment. And if you have any in your area, give it a shot. It is absolutely just so much fun. Again, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, it's your bro, JMO, signing out.